Hi, my name is Viran and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the TGROW coaching model. But before we start, please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. The GROW coaching model was developed by Sir John Whitmore, and in his book Coaching for Performance, he talks about this model. Later, the model was adapted by Miles Downey, and it became TGROW. TGROW coaching model is not just a coaching tool. It is the framework, the context of a coaching conversation. Let's talk about what each one of those letters stand for. Let's start with the first letter, T. T stands for topic. Topic is the first phase of the conversation. It is the phase where we get a better understanding about the topic that the coachee brings to the session. The purpose of this phase is to get a greater understanding about the bigger picture, the context, and the importance of the topic to the coachee. In this phase, you can ask questions like, what would you like to talk about today? What would you like to focus on today? What would you like to bring to the session today? Or you can say, tell me more about the topic. What else do I need to know about it? How important is this topic for you? Or what is the meaning of this topic for you? And the second phase of the conversation is goal. G stands for goal. The purpose of this phase of the conversation is to set a measurable outcome for the coaching conversation. Most of the time, we think that it is the goal about the topic, like in the bigger picture goal, but actually it's always useful to set a goal for the session so that you can understand what to focus on in detail. And at the same time, setting the goal of the conversation is important because it is the North Star for the coachee and for the coach. When the coachee lose track of their thoughts, as a coach, you can remind the goal of the session and ask them what is relevant to the goal. In this phase of the conversation, you can ask your coachee, okay, what would you like to get out of this session? What would you like to achieve in this session? What is meaningful to you to get out of this session with regards to that topic? Of course, it is important to set boundaries in here because you have a limited time in a coaching session. When the goal is too big, you might want to invite your coachee to chunk it into pieces and prioritize those pieces and start with one. And the third stage of the conversation is reality. The purpose of this section is to create a greater understanding about the topic. Increase the level of awareness by asking them powerful questions and challenging their language. It is the phase that we just don't talk about the surface level information, but also dive deeper. Like we start to talk about their emotions, their beliefs, sometimes limiting, sometimes supporting beliefs. Also in this stage, we get them to step back and look at the bigger system, bigger picture. Who else is involved? Who can help them with this? This stage is the most important part of the conversation. We spend most of our time in a coaching session at this stage. The purpose is if we delve deeper and really unlock the blockers, then we can come up with more options, more solutions. At this stage of the conversation, you can ask questions like, how does that make you feel? Who else is involved? How do you like this situation to be? What is really bothering you about this situation? Or what are your beliefs? What are your assumptions about it? How do you want to feel with regards to this? Which one of your values you think is not being honored in this situation? So you see, all of these questions are aimed to increase the level of awareness, not just about themselves, but about others. And the fourth phase of the conversation is options. O stands for options. This is where we discover possible solutions to the problem. You might find it helpful to ask your coachee if they've been involved in a similar situation previously and how they dealt with it. Maybe they can bring in some experience or some skills or competencies that they used back then to this situation as well. Asking about questions, okay, what worked then? How can you use a similar strategy in this situation or similar strength in this situation? What else can you do? If you have a mentor, what would they do? You can be really creative in terms of creating solutions here. This is the brainstorming part of the conversation. We just don't want to come up with just one solution. We want to brainstorm a lot of options. And then in the end, when we come to the fifth phase of the conversation, which is will or wrap up, we can ask them what they really want to do. And now let's talk about the will wrap up. So will section of the conversation is where we wrap up, where we explore the level of commitment of our coachee to take some further action. It is about also challenging them to do a little bit more. So asking questions about, okay, we've been exploring options so far. What would you like to do now? Sometimes to challenge them, you can ask them what 3 bold steps you can take. Or maybe it is a very delicate situation, very personal, and they can't take bold steps. It would be too much of a challenge for them. So you can ask them, okay, what is the next step? What is one small step that you can take? When are you going to do that? Who can help you with taking this action? What are your plans for future? What might stop you doing that? And how might you deal with it? As you can see here, that is the backbone, this is the framework of the conversation. You might be asking yourself this question, is it just for coaching? Actually, no. This framework is also very useful when you think about holding meetings. If you think the topic of the conversation as the subject of the meeting invitation, then the outcomes of the session is the goal. Why are we having this meeting? What do we want to get out of this meeting? Most of the time, the goal of a meeting invitation is missing. That's why we keep having meetings over meetings over meetings over meetings. This is the TGROW model, my friends. If you have any questions or if you want to learn more about it, please comment below. And as always, I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you for watching.